Okay. Listen up, you Xbox fans worldwide. Y'all in trouble again, man. Y'all in trouble again. You're like, okay, now what? You guys are in trouble. I told you. The entire world run on Windows, right? I told you. It's a Game Pass world and we're just living in it. I told you. The video game industry runs through Microsoft. I told you this, right? Y'all thought I was lying, huh? Alright. Y'all in trouble again, though. You're like, now what? Remember that 69 billion dollar Activision deal? It's in the news again. You're like, now what? Listen to this. Listen to this. Let me get to this. What's up, game developer? Listen to this. Microsoft triumphs over FTC again in challenge to $69 billion Activision Blizzard deal. Yeah, Microsoft triumphs over FTC again in challenge to $69 billion Activision Blizzard deal. Yeah, this article is from Game Developer. Listen to this. A federal appeals court has denied the FTC demands to halt Microsoft $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The acquisition, concluded in 2023, is still under a pause internal investigation at the FTC. Says here, the United States Federal Trade Commission demand that the federal courts halt Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, which wrapped up in the late 2023, has been dealt what might be a fatal blow, a body blow. Today, a federal appeals court denied the commission appeals of a lower court decision to not issue a preliminary injunction blocking the deal. The three-judge panel located in the Ninth Circuit declared in a ruling obtained by Reuters that the lower courts had applied the correct legal standard in reviewing the FTC's request, and that the agency had not sufficiently shown it could successfully argue that the merger would hamper competition. You remember that statement, the lesson of competition? Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard for 69 billion 70. Didn't stop it, didn't do anything to the game industry. Really didn't. But anyway, so their statement, the lesson of competition, is false. But anyway, says here, today's ruling is likely welcomed by Microsoft, which has repeatedly slammed the FTC allegation that the merger would harm competition in the video game marketplace. Well, Nintendo just made $100 billion, you know. What's up, Tweaktown? Nintendo just made $100 billion in video games. So I guess that's not the lesson of competition, right? Nintendo sold 120-something million Switches. Just saying. But anyway, says here, briefly arguing the agency existence was unconstitutional. Microsoft has abided by its promise made to the FTC and other regulatory regarding the availability of high-profile Activision Blizzard games like Call of Duty and Diablo on non-Xbox platform. It has. Yeah, that means Call of Duty is going to the Switch. Call of Duty's on PlayStation. Call of Duty's on Xbox. Call of Duty's on Steam. And if you remember, I think Tweaktown had an article on Ubisoft role in distributing Call of Duty. Just saying. Anyway, says here, sitting here messing around here. Says here, it also joined Nintendo in announcing it will increase the base pricing of its premium games to $80. Yeah. Says here, now wait a minute. It has however raised prices on the Xbox Game Pass subscription service tier that allow access to newly acquired first-party game. It also joined Nintendo in announcing it will increase the base pricing of its premium games to $80. Alright, now it says, and like many corporations, that spent millions or billions of dollars purchasing other studios from 2020 to 2023, it's concluded its acquisition by laying off thousands of developers and closing some of its purchasing studios. Says here the FTC isn't likely to pursue further action against Xbox. It says this may not be the end of the FTC's quest to sanction in Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The agency may still appeal the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court or choose to revive its internal administrative challenge that was suspended in mid-2023 pending the outcome of the court case. In 2024, the agency hounded Microsoft over its decision to lay off over 1,900 workers after the acquisition, and it alleged degrading of Xbox Game Pass. Says here, but that was 2024 when the FTC had headed by Lena Khan under the administration of President Joe Biden. Khan spent her tenure aggressively challenging corporate mergers, challenges that have faded since her departure after the election of Donald Trump. The current FTC chairman, Andrew Ferguson, has declared that the FTC should stay in its lane when it came to the enforcement of consumer protection law, though he declared an interest in going after tech platforms over content violation policies that violates free speech. Free speech advocates have countered that Ferguson proposed action threatened the concept of free speech and does not defend it. Then it says here, with the FTC turning its gaze to regulatory actions favored by President Trump himself, banned from many online platforms following his encouragement of the January 6 attacks on the U.S. Capitol, it is unlikely the agency will take any interest in the video game marketplace anytime soon. Yeah. Well, Microsoft has won this little battle, but I think it was Phil Spencer that said it was worth the. I think it was worth the risk, or it was worth the challenge that it was receiving, something of that sort. So yeah, but I mean, Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard didn't stop the game industry at all. I would say it expanded it. So I would say it kept the game industry moving. It kept the game industry moving. It wasn't just Microsoft. There was the Embracer situation too. And there was the Embracer situation too that was also creating a problem. But those two situations didn't stop the game industry from moving or growing. I would say the industry, benefited from the pandemic. Through digital sales. I would say studios were being formed, games were being made, and consoles were being made. So I don't think Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard didn't hurt the industry at all, man. It was their turn, Nintendo had their shot, Sony had their shot. Now it was Microsoft's turn. So, and when they built, I would say when they bought ZeniMax Bethesda and Mahjong, and Game Pass, showed up, Activision Blizzard was really on a first come first served basis. Any tech company with big pockets could have gotten them. Even Google and Sony was going against Microsoft for purchasing Activision Blizzard, and Google is a billion-dollar corporation. They could have bought Activision Blizzard. So It was Activision Blizzard was really up for grabs. You know, first come, first serve, man. So yeah, Microsoft just beat everybody to it. You know, once Facebook name was mentioned, it was off to the races. You know, that means that anybody could have. Once Facebook lost interest in that deal, Activision Blizzard was up for grabs. So Microsoft did the right thing and purchased them. So, and they used what I think Ubisoft, making sure that Call of Duty goes to the different platforms. So even it's gonna be on the Switch. It's gonna be on the Switch. It's already on PlayStation. It's already on PC. You know, in the clouds. You know, it's even on Linux. So yeah, it's just Microsoft. It was just Microsoft's turn. So the FTC really didn't. The FTC really didn't have a. They really didn't have a case. They didn't have no. I wouldn't say they didn't have a strong foundation when it came to going after Microsoft. You know, they were just making up something and like hoping that it sticks, and it didn't. But other than that, man, Microsoft moves on. You know, so yeah, yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So I was messing with you Xbox users about this, you know, saying y'all in trouble. But yeah, but it was worth it. I mean, when you put up so much money, you know, I mean, when you put up so much money to purchase like Activision Blizzard, of course you're gonna get some pushback. You're gonna get some pushback, you know. You're gonna get some pushback, but they saw it. I would say they saw it all the way through. Microsoft's seen it all the way through. But then while they were in trial, they didn't just stop. They didn't stop doing what they were doing. They used that as a network to grow Xbox, you know, and it's working. So yeah, and they're bringing their games to Nintendo, Sony, even the Xbox console. You know, they're bringing their games to Nintendo, Sony, PC, the cloud for Apple gamers. Yeah. So everybody, I think everybody that thought that it was going to be bad that Microsoft bought, everybody that thought they weren't going to benefit from the Activision Blizzard case, you know, they were wrong because now they are, you know. So yeah, Microsoft, they saw the vision and they went straight after it. They didn't look back, man. So I mean, you know, they seized it, and I mean, of course, there's a StarCraft 3 now. I think a StarCraft 3 is in the works now, so it'll be a couple of years before we finally hear about it. Well, there was news of it about I would say a month or a few weeks back, you know. So yeah, they're busy getting games made and getting studios, you know, the resource they need so they can get things done, man. So, but other than that, man, Nintendo is benefiting from the Activision court case right now. From Microsoft, because once the Switch 2 comes out, you know, you're gonna see Sea of Thieves on the Switch. You are, you know. So yeah, you know, PlayStation is benefiting from Xbox games being on PlayStation. So everybody's all the console makers are really benefiting from this. So the FTC was just hoping that they thought that they had something, you know. So they thought they had something, but they didn't. But anyway, but other than that, man, Microsoft can breathe a sigh of, can breathe, but then I doubt if the FTC, I don't know if the FTC is going to try to file an appeals again and try to go at it again, because yeah, I don't think it would be worth it right now, you know. After being scolded too, in court by what's her name, Judge Jacqueline Corley. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be interesting to see if the FTC try to follow through again on this, but the game industry move on, man. So will there be another big purchase like this? Will there be another big purchase like this? What, 68, 69 billion, 70 billion? Only time will tell, you know. Time will tell, man. But for right now, this is the biggest purchase in video game history, though. Yeah, done by Microsoft. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy it. Nice talking to you people again. Crystal, Star Wars 35, Dark Side. Go. Peace.